The Hash. Atrium, a network of artists led by former animators from Pixar, Netflix, and Marvel, is bringing one of the first animated films funded by a DAO to life. The Rise of Blues, a Nouns movie, has a budget of $2.7 million and aims to turn the NFT collection into entertainment. Joining us now to discuss is Atrium founder and CEO Supriyo Roy. Welcome to the show, Supriyo.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can definitely hear you. This sounds like an exciting time. Tell us about how the DAO is involved in decision making for this, because I think about the movie making business and there are a lot of different parts, and adding a DAO to it sounds like it's going to make it even more complicated.
Yeah, I think one of the really interesting things about the DAO, in particular Nouns DAO here, has been that they give you a ton of autonomy. So the creative directors are involved day to day. So they would share all of their core sort of major decisions back to the DAO, back publicly, even into the forum discourse and things like that, and including our Discord even. And we have windows of feedback. So you come in and you can share your feedback, criticism, critique, things like that. And within that time window, if you don't give it, you hold your peace. So that's how one of the ways we have been able to make progress and stick to our milestones and adhere to a certain quality. So it's not really too many cooks in the kitchen in that sense.
You know, when we think about traditional films, they usually have these massive advertising budget. They have actors who we know. They have characters who we know. How are you advertising the film, or how do you plan to advertise the film to people outside of the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the really unique things going here is something which we call internally as a proof of audience, because you have the DAO, because you have multiple sub DAOs and really enthusiastic community who's like getting behind it. You are not starting from scratch. So there is an organic word of mouth. People appreciate it. People being part of that production workflow makes the movie seen from the day one. So it's not being really created under wraps for 2 years and then coming out and, like you risk it, whether it's a hit or a flop. One of the things which we are looking at doing is, as we continue to go further down into the story, we would be exploring bringing more partners from traditional distributions and things like that to really go beyond our current core audience. And that's one of the things I think which is the beauty about the movie itself is it's trying to do is tell a really, really good story based on the public domain. It's not about NFTs. It's not about how it came to life. It's about the story itself. And if the story is good, people will care. So that's essentially the working thesis there.
So I have a question for you. My question would be, so because it's a film that's funded by a DAO and it's utilizing the Nouns NFT collection, so are community members NFTs participating in the movie? And if so, are they collecting like IP royalties, or how does that work?
That's a good question. So one of the things here is Nouns is public domain IP, right? So technically you do not need permissions to put a certain IP piece from the Nouns ecosystem into it. One of the things which we have been doing is intentionally sort of figuring out pathways on the story where we could include community members to submit for casting calls and submit for their own sort of unique cultural references, which we can include into the story. And, they wouldn't be blatant product placements. They need to fit organically in places where it would make sense. And then the things which we intend on doing is, because it's funded by the DAO principally, Atrium and Nouns together would share any upside which comes from the movie in the future. Like, we are really early, as in the pilot has just been 4 minutes into a 80 minutes feature. So we intend that once the movie is complete and as and when it starts to accrue revenue, it essentially would be shared back with the DAO directly.
I love that.
It sounds like a great project. I love this. So if I buy one of these Nouns NFT today, can I still have some rights to kind of have a say over the direction of the movie, or is that still closed now?
Yeah, essentially, right? So I think one of the things there is Nouns, the way the core DAO itself works is Nouns is one at a day forever. Every single day you have one NFT going on auction, and whichever the auction settling amount is, that goes back directly into the treasury, and your noun is one vote on how you spend the treasury, right? So the movie work stream is just one of the projects Nouns has actively voted on and continues to sponsor. And if you're particularly interested in influencing how the story is being told, yes, absolutely. If you own a noun or you own a affiliated sort of sub DAO community, you can come in and join and actively participate in how we are working through concept stages and pre-production and things like that.
If the movie makes money, are the DAO members going to share in that revenue?
The DAO will, yes. So I think one of the things which we put out in Proposal 245, that was the kickoff of the movie, was that when the movie creates revenue for itself, we would do a split, whether it's a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split, we'll see. But principally, the DAO here is acting as a production sort of financier. And they, if the film makes money, then that money gets back to the DAO. So the DAO has ability to recoup the cost. And then another thing which is really, really interesting is the movie crew is really agile and small, considered to a lot of larger animation productions. So a lot of artists have opportunity to share in that upside as well.
All right, Supriyo, we're going to have to leave it there. We look forward to seeing the full-length